Patch 7.36 has finally been released along with a bazillion changes to every hero. Everyone gets new passives and facets. Now, originally I wanted to make a big ol' massive video going over every single hero's new change, but it turns out, trying to spend 1 to 5 minutes on every hero, multiply that by 120 or however many heroes we got, takes a while. It's probably going to take a week or two for me to get all the background footage I need to show off all the new changes. But frankly, I'd like to get something out really soon before the patch dies down and everyone figures out what's going on. Which I'm pretty sure isn't possible, because I know for a fact a lot of people who even read the patch notes religiously will probably miss something. So while I'm working on the big conglomeration of every single hero changes, for now I'm just going to release parts of it one by one. Well, in this case I'm going to go over every hero lettered A through C. Everything's going to be alphabetical, so whenever you want to find a specific hero, just go to where they would appear normally in the alphabetical charts. Without further ado, let's get into the changes. Abbadon. New passive, Font of Avernus, decreasing his respawn time by 10%. It quite literally just makes him respawn 10% faster. At max level it usually takes 100 seconds to respawn, but now it's 90. This also affects the death timer after a buyback. So you just stay dead 10% less, that's kind of it. Onto the facets, or the pickable passives. Man, I need to figure out some way to say facets or pickable passives much better, because that's just gonna get annoying. I'll figure it out. Anyways, he's got the Quickening. Every time a unit dies within range of Abbadon, all cooldowns are reduced by 0.2 seconds. Dying heroes reduce it by 4 seconds instead. Sounds like it can make laning pretty aggressive. Metaphoric Shroud. Increases Aphotic Shield's damage barrier by 50%, though no longer causes a burst of damage on expiration. Whenever damage is dealt to the barrier, enemies within range take damage equal to 80% of the absorbed amount. Selecting this also increases the duration and the cooldown by 2 seconds at all levels of Aphotic Shield. In other news, Abbadon's Curse of Avernus passive has been reworked. It no longer silences, but it applies a 25% slow on enemies affected, also causing them to take 40 damage per second. Allies who attack the affected target gain increased attack speed, and the debuff's duration has been reduced to 2 seconds from 4. Talents have also been changed to accommodate, where level 25 replaces the Curse of Avernus attacks with Curse of Avernus attack speed bonus of 80. Jeez, that's a lot of attack speed. Alchemist. His passive is Grievel's Greed, which is the same as it was before, which is to increase the amount of gold gained from killing creeps or heroes. He also gains bonus money from bounty rooms no matter who picks them up.
We'll take that.
As for facets, you got Seed Money. Alchemist starts with 250 bonus gold. This allows Alchemist to be the only hero in the game capable of affording a bottle at level 1, which is a fundamental part of playing in the mid lane, where Alchemist usually goes. Mixologist decreases Berserker's Potion cooldown by 50% and Unstable Concoction by 30% of the duration of Chemical Rage. Other changes: Corrosive Weaponry no longer reduces status resistance, but it now reduces base attack damage by up to 6% per stack. Ancient Apparition, new passive, Death Rhyme. Apparition's abilities apply frost stacks that deal damage and a small slow for each stack on the enemy. And I'm going to go over Apparition's abilities, because all of his abilities no longer apply damage on their own, they instead apply Death Rhyme. Save for Chilling Touch that still has this extra damage on auto attack. So main way to play is just to freeze your opponent to death with as many abilities as possible. Onto his facets, Bone Chill, causing each stack of Death Rhyme to also reduce an enemy's strength by 1.25 at max level. If Ancient Apparition wasn't a tank killer before, he is now. Alternatively, there's Exposure. Cold Feet automatically deals its Death Rhyme damage to all units within 400 radius around the target. So you can either be a tank killer or a wave clearer. Interesting. Anti-Mage. His previous Mana Break passive is now his innate ability. Stats have been rescaled accordingly, and he can also level it up still. Mana Breaker allows Anti-Mage to deal extra physical damage to enemies by draining their mana, of which scales off of your target's mana pool. Counterspell and Counterspell Ally no longer reflex spells by default, but only block them. You'll have to unlock one of his facets in order to gain the Reflect Spells effect again. Oh wait, hold on. Mana Break no longer slows targets on full drain. By default, it has been moved to his level 15 talent. Anti-Mage's other facet is Mana Thirst, which grants bonus attack damage when enemies within a large radius have less than 60% of their mana, increasing as their mana depletes further, up to a maximum of 70 attack damage at 15% mana, in which Anti-Mage gains vision and true sight of the hero when oh, they're just Bloodseeker now, that's funny. So Bloodseeker, but for mana. Or you can pick the other facet that allows your counterspell to reflect stuff, which in a way is actually a really good choice. Alright, so guys, we have a new way to balance things. We're going to nerf it and move it to a facet, but you can undo the nerf if you don't pick the other really good effect. We are bargaining with Valve if we want something nerfed or not, that's funny. Arc-Warden. Runic Infusion. Upon activating any rune, gain the regen rune buff for 4 seconds. Duration is reduced by 34% for activating bounty runes or water runes. Order and Disorder. If you didn't know, Arc-Warden has 2 versions of his abilities depending on if he's playing Radiant or Dire. Well, that was extremely annoying, so no longer you can pick whichever one you want using the Facet system. Which, if you want to know what the 2 versions are, please go find out for yourself. I'm not going over them, that's not the point of the video. Magnetic Field has been reworked and is no longer a targeted ability. No longer affects buildings or creeps by default, that has been moved to his level 25 talent. It now always pushes enemies away from the bubble when created, even without Shard, and Axe Shard no longer provides magic resistance. Instead, Aghanim Shard increases the radius of Magnetic Field by 75 and changes the speed of attack projectiles within the bubble. It's kind of like Faceless Void's passive that's further down the list. Oh yeah, I'm spoiling. Tempest Double has also been changed, where its duration is a flat 60 seconds. And if the double is away from the primary Warden, its attack damage reduction has been changed from 75% to 50%. Also, the ability's cooldown has been greatly increased to 80 seconds at max level. However, the ability resets if the Tempest Double is killed by enemies. Is that enemy heroes? Alright, the double's about to be killed by creeps. Oh, it does reset, ooh. Also, I misread the ability. I thought it would go back to like its off cooldown state once that happens. No, that just goes on an 80-second cooldown after the double dies. Yikes. Just don't let the double die. That's all you gotta do. Easy. Axe. Axe is Axe. Axe. Has the Coat of Blood passive. Whenever Axe kills an enemy, he permanently gains 1 armor. Kills with Culling Blade give twice that. One-Man Army. Increases Axe strength by 60% of his armor value as long as there's no allies within 600 units of him. The effect lingers for 5 seconds if someone walks within range. Call Out. Increases Berserker's Call armor bonus by 5, and taunted enemies gain 45 attack speed for the duration. And speaking of Berserker's Call, its base armor bonus has been decreased by 5, so if you want the 5 back, you're gonna have to use the Call Out facet. Axe's Shard and Scepter effects have been swapped. Now, Axe Shard causes Berserker's Call to apply Battle Hunger to all affected units. It also makes Battle Hunger stack, so you can apply multiple stacks of hunger. Aghanim Scepter has been changed to cause Counter Helix to apply a stacking debuff on enemies, causing them to deal less damage. Counter Helix no longer has a cooldown, and its counter advances when Axe attacks. Ah, the good old carry Axe build is back, if you get Scepter. Bane! His new passive is Ichor of Niktasha, which forces any attribute that Bane gains to be evenly distributed across all 3 attributes. Which is a very strange passive until you also realize that all of his stats are the same and his stat gains are the same, so might as well make all attributes he gains the same. That's kind of silly. Also, non-passive change that has been made is Nightmare no longer grants bonus attack speed by default. It has been moved to his Dream Stalker facet. Sleepwalk, however, causes Nightmare to become a vector-targeted ability. Affected units starts unobstructed movement to the chosen location at 75 speed. If the effect is passed on by attacking, new units will also move to the selected location. Now already this has some pretty terrifying implications. Say you have a core or a tank that doesn't want to go any more forward. Well, no, they're going to sleepwalk into the comforting hands of the enemy. Oh, that's going to be silly. You can also use this on allies to gain the same effects, so, oh no, my buddy is like way too far up. No, get back. Don't do that. That's bad. Smoldering Resin is Batrider's new passive. Batrider's attacks now apply a debuff that deals 15% of the attack damage every second for 2 seconds. Stoked is one of his facets, which causes you to get a buff that increases your damage and movement speed after you inflict forced movement on an enemy hero, which is innately in Flame Break, but you can also get something like Force Staff or Harpoon to also do that. Pop quiz, what makes Sticky Napalm deal 25% of its damage to buildings? If you guessed Arsonist, you've won! Congratulations! Your tower is dead. Sticky Napalm's general damage has been increased, damage to creeps have been decreased to 20%, and the creep penalty also applies to the amp damage. That's not good for farming. Also, Flaming Lasso now deals 500 damage at max level. Ow! BeastMaster gains the Inner Beast passive, which he already had, and it can still be leveled up, although its effect has changed. BeastMaster and all of his controlled units gain extra attack speed. Other allied heroes no longer benefit from this. As for facets, there's Wild Hunt, increasing the Inner Beast attack speed based on how many units you have under your control. Alternatively, there's Beast Mode, which causes Inner Beast to be an active ability. When doing so, BeastMaster's attack speed is increased by 40, and applies the Wild Axe's debuff of current level on attacks, which, that sounds like damage amp galore. His talents have been changed a bit, notably at level 25, he has gained his old No Wild Axes cooldown again, but now it's a talent. Bloodseeker gains Sangrivore, I'm gonna go with that. Anyways, causes enemies killed by Bloodseeker to restore his health by up to 1% of the unit's max health per Bloodseeker's level. Restores half values on denies, or if ally kills an enemy hero within 300 range. Which is, yep, that's taken from his Thirst passive and has been moved to his Sangrivore passive. What the hell even are these names? Astral Spray. When Bloodseeker attacks a ruptured target, they are pushed 50 units in the direction Bloodseeker is facing. Which feels kind of weird, you just kind of shove people out of the way, just keep shoving them. Or Blood Rush, causes Thirst to be an activatable ability that grants you a 50% bonus move speed buff for 5 seconds. However, while the ability is on cooldown, it does not grant its passive movement speed buff. Also, Bloodseeker's Thirst passive no longer has a max HP threshold, and it automatically starts at 100%. So, the moment enemies start losing health, Bloodseeker gains that much speed. Or some amount of speed based on enemies missing health. He just really likes blood. Oh, you're losing blood? I'm gonna take it, because I seek it, because I'm Bloodseeker. That's Bloodseeker. New Bounty Hunter passive. Kills or assists on enemies with a kill streak, grants Bounty Hunter 10% more gold. Through and Through causes shurikens to damage and slow enemies that it passes through. What the hell? Like, okay, you're seeing the demo. You're seeing the demo. Look at that damage. Bounty Hunter was already ridiculous, and now he just gets more ridiculous for no reason. Oh, whatever, that's not my place. Cut Purse. Bounty Hunter steals 16 gold whenever he targets a hero with a spell. I gotta wonder what Valve was thinking with Bounty Hunter. What other stuff does he have? Track no longer provides bonus damage to Shuriken Toss, and crit strikes no longer happen with track, increases all damage taken by targets by 20%. Okay, so I guess now instead, you just apply 20% damage vulnerability to whoever you track. Brewmaster's Drunken Brawler ability is now his innate passive, and stats have been changed to accommodate. Which, if you don't know, Drunken Brawler allows you to swap between 4 different stances, gaining different passives depending on the stance, and also causes some other abilities to change depending. It's complicated. Anyways, facets. Roll out the barrel. Cinder Brew now causes Brewmaster to roll the barrel instead into a target location. Enemies hit by the small barrel take additional physical damage, which that's kind of cool. Alternatively, there's Drunken Master, which, while Brewmaster is drunk, he swaps between having increased movement speed or decreased movement speed, because drunken brawling. That's an old thing that he had, and I don't think a lot of people liked it, which is why they removed it, but now it's back, which is odd. Let's see, any other changes? Cinderbrew can now only be ignited from magic or pure damage. Physical damage is ignored. Bruling stats have been changed around a bit, mostly nerfs. Yeah, mostly nerfs to Primal Split, and Primal Companion does not have any of the penalties listed in Primal Split. Huh. Weird. Bristleback's base damage has been decreased by 8. Ow. Warpath is now an innate passive that can be leveled up. Whenever Bristleback casts a spell, he gains extra damage and movement speed, stacking up to 12 times. New facets are Berserk, which increases Bristleback's attack speed by 20 based on Warpath stacks. However, the damage per stack from Warpath has been decreased to 5 at all levels. Yikes. I don't know why anyone would go for that. Snot Rocket increases Nasal Goo's stack limit from 4 to 6 and armor reduction from 3 to 4 at max level, and causes Bristleback to, instead of send out quill sprays, he shoots goo everywhere. Oh god. Oh, what, a bad nerf, but you also get tons of damage and AoE from quill spray, or a bad alternative, but you gain your physical damage back. Ooh, this is disgusting. I think this is an overall Bristleback nerf. Yikes, I didn't think they'd nerf him like this. Eesh. Broodmother's Spider's Milk, which causes Broodmother to heal whenever she kills a unit. The heal is also applied to all of her controlled units, so all of her tiny spiders. So you can just make your spiders last a while, that's pretty good. Necro Webs. Enemies within range of a web have their regen reduced by 25% at max level. Or Feeding Frenzy, which causes Insatiable Hunger's bonuses to be applied to all spiderlings under Broodmother's control. Oh, let's see, Spiderweb's movement speed bonuses no longer decrease with units' current health, and no longer provides health regen. Ugh. New ability, Incapacitating Bite. Not really, this is an old ability that they brought back, because they also got rid of Silken Bola. Anyways, on attack, Broodmother applies a debuff that slows for 30% at max, giving a 60% miss chance at max, and increasing all damage dealt to the target by 8 for 2 seconds, because you gotta feed the family. Centaur Warrunner gains the Raw Hide ability, increasing its maximum health by 40 every 2 minutes. So that just makes late game Centaur actually the tankiest hero in the game, because he just gains more health the longer the game goes. Which, woo, Centaur is now actually the hero with the most health, which was unrightfully taken by this ogre, or this primal beast. No, it's now Centaur. Well, in terms of strengthening, he's still down there, but like, he used to be the best, and now he's the best again. Anyways, enough gloating. Counter-Strike causes Double Edge to increase its damage by 25% of the damage Centaur took within the last 6 seconds from enemy heroes, up to a max of 100% of Double Edge's damage. Counter resets on Double Edge cast. Alternatively, Centaur can gain 40% of his strength as movement speed, which does not stack with speed bonuses from boots, which also causes max speed cap to be increased to 600. This could actually allow Centaur to not have to pick up boots, which I feel was like a thing holding him back a bit, because he had to like farm up for stuff for boots, but then also get a blink dagger. But now, with horsepower, he could potentially go for a bunch of bracers and just be really tanky, but then also have a lot of movement speed, and then work towards that blink dagger anyway. You know what, these are actually good choices. Let's see, other changes. Stampede cooldown has been increased early, same late. Hitcherina causes the mounted target to be granted invulnerability, and no longer ends when blinking or ooh. So you could actually use Hitcheride as a legitimate save this way. I mean, it was a save before, but it's way better now. Chaos Knight unleashes the reigns of chaos, which causes any case where an illusion of Chaos Knight is created, there is a 50% chance that an additional illusion will spawn. This includes items and abilities from allies and enemies. Yes, even enemies can benefit from this passive, so be wary. Phantasmagorgon? Seriously, what are these names? Causes all illusions created by or of Chaos Knight to be strong illusions, including phantasmal illusions of allies created by Scepter, Also, Chaos Knight's illusions within range of him gain 20% damage reduction. Okay, so he just makes really strong illusions. What that actually means is that they can't be instantly killed by spells. Okay, well, specific spells can just instantly kill some illusions, but now... no. Anyways, Irrationality, I can actually pronounce that. Causes Reality Rift to randomly apply Break, Disarm, or nothing at all to the targeted enemy for the duration of the debuff. Well, that's irrationally random. Chen becomes a Beastmaster Ranger from D&D, as in he can summon one of 5 buddies to help him out. This is a unique case where Chen can actually gain 5 facets, of which dictate what your summon covert will summon. This is basically a way for Chen to get a very specific jungle creep without having to go find it yourself. What is summoned depends on the current level of Holy Persuasion, where at level 1 or 2 you summon the weak version of the jungle creep. Holy Persuasion has been changed a bit to no longer have a minimum health threshold, and it now changes the creep's health to be set to 400 plus 50 times Chen's level. Ag Scepter Martyrdom ability has a global cast rate. Oh my. Okay, so if you don't know what that is referring to the Aghanim Scepter buff for Chen, which applies a ability to all creeps under his control that just sacrifices the creep to heal anybody on the map for the same amount of Hand of God, which heals for 350, but also grants an extra 40 health regen at max level. So now it's global, so he can stockpile these creeps in a corner and just spam heals from across the map. That's funny. Clinkz has a new passive, Bone and Arrow, which causes him to summon skeleton archers with his abilities or upon his death. These skeletons deal a % of Clinkz's attack damage and his attack range, but deal reduced damage to buildings. Skeletons last for 30 seconds and die after multiple attacks from heroes. Okay, so they're just incorporating that more into his kit. Anyway, Suppressive Fire causes enemies hit while under the effect of Strafe to get a 5% stacking miss chance on attacks. And the miss applies to buildings as well, and also extra attack range is increased to 300 while Strafe is active, instead of 200. Engulfing Step. Casting Death Pact causes Clinkz to take the place of his consumed unit, leaving a skeleton archer where Clinkz was. Also reduces the ability to restore time by 10 seconds. Clockwerk gains Armor Power, which increases his damage by 0.3% per points of armor. What even is this change? So if you have 10 armor, you gain 3% extra damage, which is like literally nothing? Huh? I feel like they should have added an extra 0 in here or something. I mean, I could see 0.5, but 0.3 is like actually nothing. But if it was 1, that might be... Well, okay, no time for speculation. Hookup. If Hookshot hits an allied hero, cooldown is reduced by 75% and the stun and damage radius is increased to 300, which actually makes him a really good support so he can just jump in and help people out really easily. Expanded Armature. Changes power cogs to be formed in an increased radius, though cogs may have a smaller trigger size, but they can affect enemies within and pushing them towards the center. Other changes to power cogs, though, no longer provides magic damage barrier to allies. Power cogs cannot be destroyed by Clockwerk's attacks, but are instead pushed up to a distance of 1,000 and also destroys trees when kept. Okay, that's kind of funny. Brings a whole new meaning to battery assaults. Crystal Maiden gains the Blue Heart wait, hold on, why isn't there should there be a W there? I mean, like, it's pronounced flow, but it has an E there, so is it pronounced different? What is it with Dota and words? Anyways, Crystal Maiden has increased magic regen amp. That's it. Okay, I'm kind of underplaying it. That's just a huge mana regen increase, like insanity mana regen increase. Specifically for a hero that doesn't have much mana, but a lot of regen. So that's pretty neat. Frozen Expanse causes Crystal Maiden's cast range to be increased by up to 125 and provides an extra 10% AoE boost based on the level of Arcane Aura. Or Cold Comfort. Every time Crystal Maiden casts a spell, allied heroes within range also receive 25% of the mana spent from CM's abilities. These are actually kind of neat. Wait, Okay, Frostbite no longer has a bonus duration on non-ancient creeps, but now deals 4 times the damage to those non-ancient creeps. So, doesn't last its usual 10 seconds, but it now does 4 times the damage, which actually is better? Yeah, that's better. Freezing Field no longer grants additional armor, however the attack speed slow has been increased to a whopping 160, oh my. Also, you can now see where the Crystal Clone will send Crystal Maiden when you activate it. That's kinda neat. Alright, that is all of the heroes' passives and facets between A to C. Not sure what lettered heroes we'll get into next episode, because I'm not sure how fast I can actually get that stuff done. Ideally, once I get every single hero from A to Z, then I'll upload a compilation of every single hero, A to Z, all of their passives, all their facets, all in one place. It'll probably be a 2-hour video, something like that. This patch has an absurd amount of information. There's still stuff that I'm figuring out and learning, and this whole project is forcing me to kind of learn anything within these patches. And well, I'm hoping that you've learned something as well. So I think that's going to end the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it at least some amount, and you all have a good night.